with Chapter 40A, Section 6. Because in here, we're saying what the lot shouldn't be used for.
Right.
Here, we're talking about acceptance or not acceptance of a provision in the general law.
So 2, 3, and 4 become sub-bullets to 1, and then 5 becomes its own.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it
something
makes
like
more
that, I
sense.
think would,
It works for me.
so you're gonna fly this back by the attorney, Greg?
Sure.
And I gather what we don't want the buyer to have the right to apply or to waive.
Well, in this particular case,
You don't-
because of the size of at least one abutter, if it were to be combined with his lot, it would potentially allow him to pork chop his lot, get another lot or two out of it. When we were looking at the map the last
Mhm.
time. The other fact is that it has sufficient size and frontage on a paved street to constitute, be construed as a buildable lot freestanding as it is, and we didn't want that. And then,
Do we not satisfy what we're looking to do by just leaving it with 1, 2, 3, and 4, changing some of that wording and not even including paragraph 5?
well, the only other concern I have about number 2, the premises shall not be used, and the lot not be used, again, it's a double negative again. Premises shall not be used to satisfy minimum zoning or health code requirements for the construction on or use of any building on adjoining land. Let's say this gentleman buys it, and his septic system fails, and he can't perk his own land, and he owns next door. Why couldn't he put his septic
Yeah, right.
system there? Or
Can't-
if the
can't
neighbor
he-
behind him, wanted to,
Can he come in looking for a variance?
no, because this is a deed restriction. Right? These are deed restrictions.
Yeah, I don't think any of us would want that. In fact, we'd encourage that if he could have
Absolutely.
a better septic system on that block of land.
Right.
We talked about doing that over at Martin's Pond.
Excuse me, this line here that the lot not be used, maybe that shouldn't even be there. I mean, if it's just subject to the following restrictions, take that line out and just go 1, 2, 3. I mean, it doesn't even seem like that, that's confusing us all. It's making everything in double negative on us.
Yeah, maybe
Yep.
cleaner that way. Then
It's confusing us, right?
one becomes non-buildable. Well, Steve, would you leave 2 just with the first line, the premises
I
shall
wouldn't
not be
even- I
used to
wouldn't even
satisfy
include- I
minimum
wouldn't even
zoning?
include 2.
Yeah, delete
The
it.
only thing I would include is number 1, probably. In Jeff's suggestion of, eliminating that portion of a sentence above, that the lot not be used, take that right out. Subject to the following restrictions. In and of itself, as a separate non-building lot, it shall not be combined with any adjoining land. These restrictions are intended to run in perpetuity. So as we're building it, deeming it unbuildable for habitation, in other words, someone wants to put a garage there or something else, they can come in and look for something like that, but they can't put a home there. And,
You wouldn't
we
want to,
want it combined with the other one because, if Mr. Day is a successful bidder, it would potentially allow him sufficient frontage to, combine the 2 lots and have 2 additional lots, probably.
well,
And then the same thing on the septic system issue, if we just use one that wouldn't preclude him from putting a septic system for his adjacent lot, without combining it.
what harm is there to leave the premises shall not be used to satisfy minimum zoning? What's the harm there? Strike the rest of it, but leave that one line.
Why would you need that if you're gonna have number 1 say it's a non-buildable lot?
Right.
There's no need for it, it's redundant. Because 1 is less restrictive than 2. 2 just says, can't satisfy the minimum zoning, can't do anything for health code requirements, on any adjoining land, although it doesn't render it necessarily non-buildable, but that would say if it's buildable, then they can do it. One, I think satisfies what we're looking to do, which is keep it a separate lot, render it non-buildable for residential dwelling, but allow for some sort of potential if a septic issue came up, or someone wants to put some sort of a storage building there or something, I don't know what it is, but it's not a home. And again, 3, you wouldn't have 1 or 2. In other words, you just say 3 is, you'd have to join it with your lot. This is just the menu, what do you wanna do with this lot now? So 3 is out.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And again, 4, we're not necessarily looking to totally restrict any building or any other structure. If a guy wants to put a shed 150 feet away from his house, go ahead. So I think what we're looking to do is 1. Again, whether Mr. Day's the successful bidder or one of the other 2 direct abutters, same effect. Maintained as a separate lot, it's non-buildable, residential purposes.
Michael?
When we talk about assessed value, that's based on it being a buildable lot? Or is that assessed value based on the restrictions we're trying to place on the land?
Not the restriction, no. The assessed value is what the current assessed value is in it right now. And the formula for assessed valuation is a little bit different than, say, an appraised value. Assessors use
No.
a different formula.
But we would, that number probably is an apples and oranges number compared to what we're doing.
I wouldn't give it much credence after
Oh, yeah.
what we went through with Eisenhower.
Yeah.
All right,
forget it.
I just wanted to make sure. Good, good. Going right down the road.
That's a guide
Thank you. All right.
that I wouldn't necessarily follow.
Yep.
Hey, you have any input on this? If we want to keep this on as non-buildable lot, but get it back on the tax rolls, have you seen what's been proposed for this lot?
I tend to do better if I see what.
I think you've heard the discussion and understand.
I have, I just heard striking of 2 and 3.
Oh.
So you wanna keep it a non-buildable lot? Is that the goal?
Yeah.
We right, we want to sell it.
We want to sell it to one of the adjacent homeowners.
Okay.
But we don't want them to go ahead and parcel it up so they can either build another house on it and sell it as a separate lot, or combine it with their home and add in-law apartments and,
Are you familiar with this one, Heidi? It's Juniper Road, but it's actually at the end of the cul-de-sac at School Hill Lane,
Okay.
and runs parallel to Lee Road.
Well, if we waive the 48.6, then you waive all the time, but then the restrictions will no longer be able to be grandfathered, so that would be a good thing, I'm assuming.
But he doesn't need to be grandfathered. He's got enough frontage on the paper street, Juniper.
And you don't want him to be a pork chop lot.
Which is if he were to join it with his, he could potentially do.
so we're gonna restrict that as well.
It's down to 1.
I can see why you're struggling, based on all the different numbers. I could write something up, I don't think I could whip it up off the top of my head
Yeah,
right
that's
this
fine.
second.
That's probably the better way to do it, is
Yeah,
Yeah, I
send
think
it down to
so, too.
CPC,
right.
get their opinion on it. Hold it through you, Greg, and then, I don't know, you have a better idea, Greg?
I'm comfortable with what the board is suggesting. I mean, ultimately, you're the ones who have jurisdiction over the sale of the parcel.
I'm kind of a keep it simple guy. I'd
I
rather
think
have just one
I think
paragraph
our
and end
intent
it,
is
but-
clear,
Right.
right?
Right.
Well, I don't know, I read this and I'm not sure.
No,
No,
our
not that. Our
intent
intent is clear. We just want it
clear. What we
non-buildable.
need to do is have a document that matches
We
our
wanna keep
intent.
it a separate lot, so it can't be adjoined combined with an adjoining lot, and we don't want it buildable. But we don't necessarily want to unnecessarily restrict other uses, whether it's something or a shed or something. I mean, in the past, we've just said, if you can't do anything with it, just leave it pristine.
Right.
But that's not necessarily what we're
Right.
No, in fact, if someone wanted to put a garage on it, you know,
Oh,
if
makes
it was,
sense.
it made sense to me, that would be okay.
Yeah.
That would increase
Thank
the
you.
value of the
Thank
property.
you.
So where's the action?
Heidi does.
Heidi is volunteered to reword something and get it to Greg.
It's,
Well,
I mean, to me, I don't think they need, again, I don't think they need to waive the grandfather, because again, once you look at the lot, it's well above, it meets the minimum standards anyway. Just, it's a road improvement to be made.
okay. Next, I would like to skip over discussing the strategic plan and special legislation on health insurance. And since Heidi is here, I think she's here, related articles on the warrant. We'll go through the warrant and then go back to those two items, if everyone's in agreement.
Sure.
Yep.
See, I'm glad you could figure it out.
And I see for long absence, there's been a bunch of zoning,
Yes,
we've gone to a couple October meetings, I think there's been minimal or nothing.
we made up for that.
Would it be easier for you, Heidi, to work off of the podium?
Well, I don't have, public hearing, I just didn't know if you had any brief questions, or just wanted to briefly summarize what each ones are that were.
That would be.
Summarize. would be
Yeah, I
good.
think we
Yeah.
need a summary of each one of these, eh?
The wireless zoning amendment, currently the decibels are listed at 30 decibels, for wireless facilities. What's been happening is the zoning board of appeals is constantly receiving applications for variances for noise. And the reason for that is because pre-existing ambient noise at most property lines is 30 dBA. So what we did is we did, a study of other communities who have wireless bylaws, and the average one is 50 dBA. So it would change from 30 to 50. And that would reduce the amount of applicants also having to go to the zoning board of appeals for variance.
So this would be like transformer harm and things like that, that might be in one of the
It's
wi-
the
wa-
antennas that we're placing on a lot of the water towers and other different cell towers in town.
but you're talking about audible noise.
Correct.
So that's
they
gotta be
actually
coming
have to
from
go-
the instrumentation down below, I would think.
Yes, what happens is they go out and they do a pre-existing noise study, and then they have to do a conducted noise study with the addition of the antennas or whatever.
Are we gonna get any pushback from residents? Other than those that are always opposed to it anyway, but, I mean, I don't know what 30 and 50 decibels,
That's,
it's not a lot.
we're talking about audio noise, you're not talking about,
Yeah, we're talking about that.
yeah, you're not- they're not talking about signal strength.
no, I know, yeah,
Yeah.
so, no, but I don't know what,
The difference
They-
in the
they-
noise
the-
level
the
is.
neighbors,
50
the neighbors
decibels.
the neighbors were screaming about radiation from the antennas
Right.
back when.
Right.
oh, I know, yeah.
No, what we're talking about maybe is an air conditioning mower, right, that's
Yeah,
calling their,
yeah.
Right.
that's all we're talking about. You running your air conditioner at home, same thing we're talking about.
And I will say, at the last ZBA meeting I attended, it was for zero noise rate, there was a simple automatic noise variance. That helps out.
30's pretty quiet.
Even 50, going to 50,
Seven.
you're not gonna know.
I have no context of what am I comparing it to, you know? Although if you listen to my air conditioner, it's a little loud.
And this was brought forth because of complaints from,
They'd be getting service calls.
No, it was just brought forth because, Jim, DeHoran and here to me, they had an excessive amount of applicants.
The ZBA.
coming
That
in.
makes sense.
oh, okay,
So,
Yeah, this,
I
okay.
don't
Makes
think,
sense.
Yeah, bring it
I
up
don't
to,
think anyone who's coming hasn't
Mhm.
applied for it.
Okay,
So,
I guess you're taking them in some order that, you have in your folder, so.
so you don't have, you don't have
You're
a,
going from easy to more difficult.
Oh,
Okay,
it's okay.
that's fine.
Right ahead.
The next one is the floodplain district amendments, and all that is FEMA, as you probably likely have heard, has,
Change the map.
has changed the map, which has caused us to have to re-update the zoning bylaw references to the United States in 2010.
It was basically just
Do a federal
reflected
change.
on the new maps, period, no other,
Yes. Probably, the main issues we've seen are mostly homeowners who are now impacted by the changes to FEMA maps, not, which, that's not.
but this bylaw doesn't,
No, I know.
doesn't hurt them one way or the other, right? I
well,
mean,
it does put them in a floodplain, so
It puts them
they,
in floodplain,
which-
they previously were.
which means they have to get flood
oh,
insurance.
it does,
Oh,
Do we
yeah,
know
that's
how
what-
many,
I thought
Properties
just
been impacted.
automatic, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, do we know how many homeowners